Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. No, Frank Barton was not going to do this segment. I didn't want to do back-to-back with Frank and John Gordon. Frank, your next time. Frank Barton, John Gordon, good morning, guys. Again.
Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, everyone.
Glad to have y'all in the studio with me. Gene Smith is in the studio also. And, Gene, I know we're going to talk to the man who he's the heat maker here. I mean, he has to answer questions from people that sometimes don't like what they hear. And but he's always been real reliable to be on Outdoors with Larry Ray. And we're so glad to have Jamie Fedderson on, the TWRA Migratory Game Bird Program Coordinator. They can't put all that on one shirt, Jamie. I know that. So it kind of runs around to your back. Thank you for being. But I want to put you through before we start grilling you here. We don't do that, Gene. No. Gene Smith,
yes,
you're
sir.
connected with TWR. You've taught 20,000 people hunter education.
Sir, I taught more than anybody in the state of Tennessee.
And, yeah, some of them not even living anymore. I mean, he's been doing this a long time. How about a nice pun before we go into Jamie here?
All right. Well, this
get ready, Jamie. All right.
Couple was having some problems. And
here we go.
His wife kept telling me that my neighbor next door, I wish he was like him. Every morning he kisses his wife goodbye and he brings her flowers and all kinds of stuff. He said, "What do you think?" He said, "Well, I don't know her that well."
Jamie, do you know Gene Smith? Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of him, but we've not had the pleasure to meet.
Well, you need to meet him because he's a man of many words here. But so let's off the light note. Let's talk, Jamie. I mean,
sure.
This season is winding down. We have talked in the previous segments with John and Frank and other guests about is it time? We've been almost a quarter of a century with 60 days and 6 bag limit.
Mm-hmm. What's,
from your point of view as a wildlife biologist and our waterfowl man, what do you think is in the future for, we've all optimistic and all like this, and, let's talk about what your feelings are on changes that might be coming.
Sure. I mean, I don't see any big changes coming anywhere in the near future.
Okay.
As far as like what the federal frameworks might give us as far as season lengths and bag limits. We've still got strong population numbers. Habitat, that's always a factor every year. Habitat's up, habitat's down, but ducks are super resilient to that sort of thing. So, I don't see us coming out of that liberal package that gives us 60 days and a 6-bird bag. I don't see it happening anytime in the near future. I just don't. I think maybe based on some of our pintail numbers, that we might have to have some serious discussion about pintails here in the near future.
Yes,
but that would be the only one that I would think that we're going to have any maybe any kind of changes on, or just serious discussions about what we need to do with those guys. But everything else seems to be doing pretty good.
So what are you hearing from the field then? I mean, what as we close in?
Hunting season, started off really, really good.
Yeah.
I think lots of people were shooting lots of birds. Part of that was we had some good cold weather at the beginning of the season. Conditions were a bit dry, so it was, I think it was more of that. If you had water, you were doing good.
Yeah.
Got warm, got rainy, birds kind of spread out, things slowed down a little bit, but people are still kind of shooting some birds.
Yes.
Doing okay. I'm kind of hopeful for these, this weekend, and then next weekend's our last weekend, and so I'm kind of looks like temperatures are going to kind of be a little bit low, and we might be wet, but I'm hopeful people will get in some decent shooting this week.
Oh, well, I'm getting nervous because John and Frank are passing notes together here, so I get nervous when my co-hosts are passing notes, But I know, Jamie, you talk to your compadres in other states and things along that line. And I mentioned earlier in the show that duck numbers were really down in southeast Missouri and places like that. So we're not the only one being affected by this, right?
No, we're not. And again, I think it's a lot of it has to do with what the conditions were. We were, I think we were all fairly dry coming out of the fall and into winter. And so depending on when your hunting season was, you might not have gotten wet at all, and you might have had a really bad season. Like I think that was the case for a good portion of Illinois and a bunch of Missouri. Is that they were just dry, and by the time their seasons were rolling around, they just didn't have the water, and the water came after or towards the end of their seasons.
Well, again, we're talking to Jamie Fedderson. You agree with that, Frank? You said
yes, I do. I mean, it's
because your birds come from southeast Missouri. I mean, you're in that area there. A lot of reflects on where a lot of my listeners this morning in East Arkansas, and the duck capital of the world, Stuttgart, and all those places like that. So we hear these reports of harvest numbers for the hunters less than one duck per hunter in areas of southeast Missouri that have been hotbeds before. Frank?
Then they were dry.
Dry. That's it.
Just dry.
Yeah. You weren't pumping, right? I mean,
you can only pump so much.
You can.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with the price of diesel. That was a lot of people talking about this year.
There you go. Yeah. That's something we haven't even mentioned about. Not just the price of eggs, but
pumping will artificially give you a weekend.
Yeah, it's about what it'll do.
And that's about it.
Huh.
After that, you got to have natural water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
you got to remember too, with backwaters off the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
If the Mississippi River is low, those areas, doesn't matter how much water you put into it, it's just going to go straight into the ground and back out into the system.
Yeah.
You got to have that water up in order for that water to hold. The water in the Mississippi River has got to be up in order for that water to hold, and I think that's what was.
Well, we were record low, 10 feet below.
Right.
Yeah, there for a while. That's all we talked about, and we didn't think about the backwaters. And
the rivers are still low.
They're still low, but they're up. They're better than they were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know a lot of people that hunt the river, but I know there's a lot of people that hunt.
A place like Tunica Cutoff, there's been no hunting there entire season, pretty much.
And I know that. Gene, I know that the ramps in Shelby Forest and places like that were so low that you couldn't get into those, right, Gene? I mean, The
water's so low they couldn't even get the boats in and out.
Yeah.
And also, oxbows are all dry, too.
Yeah.
Where they usually have a lot of water in them.
So Jamie, we're talking about primarily West Tennessee. That's our area here.
Sure.
So unless you're on an impoundment, say like Reelfoot, or one of the rivers, the Tennessee River or whatever it might be, where you have some water and things like that. But optimistic, and we've got that. And you guys look at all the data. When do y'all? I can't remember. You wait. When's the federal report come out, John? When all these things happen?
August.
That's what I thought. And Jamie, you guys will be getting information, I'm assuming, particularly on your public blinds or whatever it might be, and trying to see what the numbers are and everything. So when do y'all make y'all's decision? Isn't that right? About the same time, September, August? What is it?
Oh, you mean as far as like when we're going to be setting seasons?
Yes, and changes or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you got to remember we're setting our seasons a year in advance.
Yes.
So the decisions for the 23-24 season, those decisions have already been made at the federal level. Things kind of get finalized. We'll set our seasons in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We'll do that in March and April.
That's it. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Right.
So we're coming up. We're coming up here in March and April, where we'll be talking a lot about that, and with the season like it is. But it's, to me, it's been the craziest weather season. I get a lot of that. I haven't been able to get out as much because of some illness and things like that. But I mean, we dropped down to 0 there for a while. And everybody said, well, and John, we talked about this, and Jamie, the same thing. That hard freeze, it's killed a lot of things. It's killed my azaleas in my yard that I never thought I would ever see some of those things like that. So I don't know what did that affect visiting waterfowl during that time?
Yeah, so I did not hear a whole lot of reports about dead birds or anything like that with the freeze. And I'll remind you guys, we have this telemetry project going on.
Yes, I wanted you to mention
mallards.
that.
Yeah. So we did not see a whole lot of movement from those guys during that hard freeze. I think maybe they kind of they found an open hole, just kind of hunkered down a little bit, tried to eat as much as they could, but they kind of stayed they stayed put.
So did we.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else did that and everything. Well, Jamie, I know busy time for you. Thanks for taking time, buddy, to be with us on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Appreciate it. Always available. And we'll stay in touch, buddy, and get back to going, okay? All right?
Anytime, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, Jamie.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jamie Fedderson. All right, we're going to take a break. This is and Mark Wachecki, and I know this is the fastest 90 minutes. We've already gone through an hour. I mean, we rolled. Now, you may not feel like it's sitting over the corner over there, but we'll make sure we make you happy at the end here. All right, let's take a break, and then we're going to talk. We're going to have a story to tell. And I may ask Frank and John a little bit about one of their favorite duck stories, but this is a pretty cool story coming up. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.